Employers are trolling Gen Z with fake job listings.
Gen Z, they don't know what work actually means. Now hiring baby boomers only. Thanks.
I was on the Dr. Phil show, and it gets crazier. Companies and boomers around the country are not hiring Gen Z, and they're blatantly discriminating against them. Look at this sign. This was from the Dollar Tree, and since then, the manager has been fired. But she says, I apologize for closing again. My 2 new cashiers quit because they said their boyfriends couldn't stand here for their entire shift. Don't hire Gen Z. They don't know what work actually means. Now hiring baby boomers only.
Employers are trolling Gen Z with fake job listings. Many of you already know that Gen Z is not doing well in the workforce, and now employers are trolling Gen Z with fake job listings, with 40% of employers actually outright saying that they are not hiring Gen Z, they're avoiding hiring Gen Z, they will not work with Gen Z, and there's a lot of negative stuff out there on top of it. Why are employers choosing not to hire Gen Z? And what are the implications that it's going to have on society going forward and the lives of Gen Zers? Stay till the end to find out why employers are not hiring Gen Z and the consequences that Gen Z will be facing going forward.
Look, there are many surveys of employers showing that Gen Z is their least favorite to work with, and words like entitled keep creeping into the conversation. Gen Z doesn't feel like they have to work very hard. They feel they're entitled to a job. And look, right now, and for the last couple of years, we've had a very tight jobs market. So they've never really experienced, these are pretty young folks coming out of school, they've never experienced the idea that they have to compete for a job. Remember all the Gen Zers who complained about having to go back into the office after COVID for 1 or 2 days a week. They couldn't tolerate it. And then they were appalled when some companies said, well, you know what, then you're fired. They just simply couldn't imagine it. I've actually done a lot of work on this for various reasons and talked to college recruiters and stuff. It is definitely the case that this generation is different.
Are you hiring Gen Z in the workplace? Apparently 40% of employers are not hiring Gen Z, and it's all based on entitlement. Besides a lot of the lack of experience that some people have, some interviewees have actually showed up with their parents. For a lot of these interviews that are online, a lot of these people have just completely declined turning on their camera. And just their body language in interviews was completely off. They avoided eye contact, they couldn't shake hands. We do have a little bit of slang, so they were using that during the interview, and it was completely unprofessional. And then some of their outfits were just not dressed for the job that they wanted to have. Even some of these interviews that they're having can be in places that are so inappropriate, like outside of the mall, as if this interview inconvenienced them. Overall, employers are finding Gen Z to be just completely unprofessional, but I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments.
So we all know that Gen Z's slang is just basically Ebonics for white kids. So employers are just going to have to get used to that. There's also many stories about Gen Zers just picking up and leaving halfway through the workday.
I think most of us in the workforce have a bone to pick with Gen Z. This app, and several others, where it's Instagram, YouTube, whatever, is full of people posting videos of them just leaving in the middle of the shift without telling anyone, or just saying, well, I'm just never going to show up to work again. I don't like it. On behalf of all of your coworkers, get fucked. Listen, I get if a job isn't for you. If it's not something you enjoy, maybe you don't enjoy your boss, maybe it's toxic workplace, or maybe it's just a job field you're finding out you don't like. That's fine. Tell somebody. Say, hey, you know what? This isn't working out. I'm not coming back. Or give a 2 weeks notice. Something. But whatever you do, don't just fucking not show up. I've had a few jobs I didn't like. I've had some bosses I didn't like. At the same time, I may not have liked them, but I would still at least give notice before I left. And I understand things have changed. Not everyone's giving a 2-week notice. You don't have to give a 2-week fucking notice. You just have to give a notice. For the 4th time, the 4th Gen Z worker we have hired at my job has not shown up. Second we get them done with training, because it takes about a month or 2 to go and learn all the systems, the computer equipment, the machinery, everything we got at this place. When we finally get them trained up to where they can be on the schedule and take over shifts, they just up and never call anybody again and never show up again.
Oh, shoots. Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow. Yo, Gen Z is wild. And what employers are doing now is that a lot of them are posting fake job listings online. And they 40% of employers have been surveyed. There's evidently, I thought it was one survey, but there's evidently been multiple surveys now where they surveyed a bunch of employers, 1,000 employers or thousands of employers, and 40% of them have said that they don't hire Gen Z. And that was a survey. That certain survey I'm citing is back from 2022, so it's likely even worse than that now. It might be 70 to 80%, but 40% back then were saying that they don't hire Gen Z. And now you're seeing that there are flyers, there are papers stuck to doors saying, "Do not hire Gen Z, only hire boomers." It's that bad. It's that bad because Gen Z are so unreliable. And the reason why they don't say Gen X is because everyone forgets about Gen X, which is just the way we like it. But it's an absolute miserable time right now. It's a miserable time right now that everyone's having with Gen Z. They just don't show up. They'll leave partway through the day. This is just how Gen Z rolls. It's like hi ho, it's off to work we go. Not Gen Z. Not Gen Z. Gen Z going to work is basically they don't go to work. They don't go to work at all. Don't gotta go to work. Work. That's Gen Z right there. Okay? They wake up at 11 and they wake up at 11 a.m., go back to sleep at 11:30, then get back up at 2 p.m. and then come 8 p.m., they're just getting ready to start playing Call of Duty. Okay? This is Gen Z. This is Gen Z. No responsibility. All right? The reason why these people are aging so rapidly is because they're very lazy and they're burning through life real quickly, real fast. I speculate that they're going to have an increased risk of Alzheimer's. You know why? Because while everyone is working hard and using their brains, keeping their brains active, Gen Zers are just using drugs, getting drunk, getting high, and living these wasteful lives. So they're basically burning through their lives like med addicts. Like these people are going to start looking. They're already looking hard. They're looking hard in their 20s already. Like some of these people look almost 50 or in their 50s already. Okay, so when you consider this, you realize like Gen Z, they were never really meant here. They were never really meant to be here that long. I've said it plenty of times. Many of them will not see 30. They will not see 30. Not the way that they're going. All right. These are some bad little muffins. And employers are posting these fake job listings online. And obviously, what they're doing is they're resume farming. They're taking the best resumes that they can, and they're obviously eliminating Gen Zers. So Gen Zers are applying for these jobs, applying for like 500 different jobs, and not a single callback. Like, they're applying for job, like they have a degree in, someone has a degree in microbiology, and they can't get a call back at a company that's hiring security. All right.
Well, the U.S. labor market is looking strong at the moment thanks to low unemployment and a high number of job openings. But that hasn't actually made it easier necessarily for some job seekers to find work. Part of the reason that jobs are hard to come by is that a good chunk of postings aren't real. As many as 4 in 10 companies say they have posted a job listing this year that simply doesn't exist, while 3 in 10 say that they are currently advertising for a role that isn't real. Now, that's according to a May survey of over 600 hiring managers from the career site Resume Builder. Tim Parody joins us now. He is the future of work correspondent for Business Insider. Tim, I was so astonished to hear these statistics. Why in the world are companies creating fake job postings?
Well, the simple reason is they want to try to get more resumes in the door. So they're curious about what they might find if they tell people they've got a job, even if it's not there.
So let's actually back up for a second. Let's help people who are searching for a job, because I can only imagine how frustrating it is to apply for a job only to find out that it's a fishing expedition. Do you have any telltale signs that a job posting is fake?
So there are a few things. One is the age of the post. If it's too old, that's usually a red flag that it may not still be current. And there are some other things. If the job isn't listed on the company website or if it otherwise seems suspicious, it's maybe good to think twice about whether it's a real posting.
So If companies are actually benefiting from these listings, is there any way that job seekers can also benefit from what seems like a really sneaky practice?
Well, it's surprising, right? But I think what's interesting is that a lot of times, at least this survey showed, that people who do apply to fake jobs actually still may get a call back. Something like 85% of the resumes that were contacted ended up being landing in an interview. So there is hope. And I think it was overall about 4 in 10 of these fake jobs resulted in somebody getting contacted. So it's not necessarily a dead end.
So, Tim, is there anything to stop companies from posting these fake job listings?
I suppose maybe the power of job seekers saying, they don't appreciate it or
Yeah, guys, and you obviously know that they're not hiring Gen Z. As you can see, 4 out of 10 employers back in 2022 said they would not even hire Gen Z at all. Like avoid. I mean, they have flyers up. They're sticking up pieces of paper like "Do not hire Gen Z." I mean, it's that bad. They're just trolling these kids right now. They're calling them lazy, but they would never even give them a job because many of them have just completely written Gen Z off, and Gen Z isn't helping themselves. All right, people are furious about the behavior of Gen Z, and they don't even want to give them a chance anymore. So what are the consequences of this going forward, guys? I told you, Gen Z are just going to enter their full-blown hippie era. They're going to be stealing and squatting. No one's going to give them a job, and they don't really want to work anyway. They're going to be out there in the streets stealing and squatting. Because if they can't live with their parents and they don't want to live with their parents, then they're going to have to live somewhere. So, and they have to eat. So, these are brokies. So they're going to be stealing from Target and Rite Aid. Rite Aid is going to be a little bit harder because they're locking things up. And Target's also been locking things up. They're going to steal whatever they can steal. By the way, if you have a car, protect your catalytic converter, all right? Protect the catalytic converter because that's something that thieves have been targeting for a long time. They love that thing, and Gen Z is no different. They don't know much about cars, but they know what parts to steal. So protect yourself from Gen Z crooks. Protect your catalytic converters. Gen Z is going to be out there stealing and squatting because they are the sleeping and farting generation. So be careful out there, man. Be careful out there. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Gen Z does not have much of a future because of the implications of their actions, the consequences of their actions. They are going to face a future of extraordinary destitution where they will not be able to work. Granted, they don't want to work in the first place. And they're going to basically become they're going to basically become problems in society where society is going to say that, we don't actually even want these people around, but there's not much we can do because, they're not going anywhere. A lot of them are going to start ending up in prison or they're going to be shipped off somewhere. You're going to try shipping, you could try shipping them off to the military, but many of them don't actually qualify for military. So a lot of them are going to end up in jail and prison. And that's really just how it is. And then when the FEMA camps start coming along, they'll start putting a lot of them in there because, a lot of people are going to end up homeless and hungry in the coming years due to rising inflation and impossible rent to pay. And those who can't keep on squatting are just going to basically end up in the streets and then in the jails. But let me know what you guys think regarding all of this. Employers are trolling Gen Z with fake job listings. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away and share.